Hey, you got your hell gems in my celestial foam. You got your celestial foam in my hell gems. Well, we're gonna have to try new Big Green Crunch cereal. They're chromalicious. It's coming soon in void flavor. Well, welcome back to the Cube Factory here in 64 Automation Nation. We are moving right along here into another phase of existence. There's been some minor changes here and there since we last played. There was a patch to the game which made a few good quality of life changes. One cool thing is that you can kind of move buildings around now and not just sell and resell, which is really good because obviously like the hell gem materials, there's only so many of them. So like if you have to like sell and resell the destabilizers, the injectors and stuff, that can be pretty problematic. So we want to keep that in mind. Aren't able to move the excavating channels and a few other things, but you know, in general, like that's a really nice change in my mind. So I can dig it. Another thing is they reduced some of the scaling of the inflated costs, which I definitely think was overblown in a few cases. I think, if I remember correctly, the Hell Gem Destabilizer was the biggest one at 50%. That's pretty massive. You'll get astronomical prices by the time you make like 20 of those. So yeah, I do like that they altered. Actually, I haven't checked the new numbers, but any reduction is better in my mind for being able to allow people to play a little bit more the way they want to play. If you want to have a very compact build, you can, but I love the idea of being able to expand it a bit further and like swarm out or just like utilize a more sprawling build and playstyle without being overtly punished by the scaling system. Still keep it in mind, but like it doesn't need to be so severely punishing. Did pick up a few catalytic preheaters since I was offline. Actually, I have just grinded out a lot of resources while I was developing design for my next build. I'll get into that in a second. We'll go back to the spreadsheets. I know you guys like the spreadsheets, but real quick, I just want to check in with how things are going here. We're basically at the same place we were, having picked up more and more celestial foam, been converting that with the reactor, which now has the kind of full array next to it here. It by necessity it has to have a preheater. In my mind, it should always have a preheater next to it, and a silo is a good quality of life. Definitely not necessary. Like I was kind of trying to swap this guy in and out. You can probably sell him, but at the end of the day, 2 of the 8 slots are kind of taken up by the silo and the preheater, and then the other ones all the way around can be the others. So we'll get another slowdown here. Little time warps happen from time to time. Apparently they doubled the frequency of the hollow stone spawns, so we might see this a little bit more often in general in the new patch. But, you know, sometimes it actually speeds things up, which is interesting to see as well. In this case, it's definitely slower, though. But that's fine. But yeah, I do want to get into the new design, but real quick, I did also want to check out how many hollow stones we've accumulated. Thanks to all this... Oh wow, we have no chromalite because we're just not digging at all. I wonder if it gets worse the more hollow stones you leave laying around. I'm curious about that. But as it stands, we probably, like I said, they doubled the frequency of the spawn rate, and I've been kind of just AFKing for like an hour or so while I was designing the new layout. So with that in mind, there's probably a lot of hollow stones up there. Let's check it out. Boom, boom, boom. Got a little cluttered over here with whatever we're doing. And oh, this is a new thing too. These little, I don't even know, surges, I think they're called. What they do is they spawn resources that you can just kind of mouse over, you grab them, pull the worms out of the ground, and boom. That's a lot of beta piling. Like, at first I was like, okay, that's a nice little boost, but I actually think it might be based on a percentage of how much you have banked, which is crazy. But like, every time I look at it, it seems to do more. Like, I had only like 200,000 El Marine, and my next goal was like 500,000. So I was like, okay, it's gonna take a while to convert all this, convert, and then suddenly I pick up 2 of those yellow squirmy wormies, and suddenly I was over 1 million, and I'm just like, wow, okay, that's crazy. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that and see kind of where it's at. But in the meantime, let's collect some hollow stones. Squirmy worm. What are these? Ooh, just got, yeah, it's like 200,000 celestial foam casualty. Thank you, Spooky Stone. No, I'm never gonna stop doing that. Spooky Stone deserves to be thanked. And if you forget to think, then you're going to get less squirmy wormies. And you hiding back here. It looks like we're in the clear. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. We still have the hollowed research site. It's getting us hollow stones. We can definitely use that for something. I did want to check out, somebody had a theory on how things work with the waypoint. So they thought maybe the grammar was off. It could be you teleports you to the next existing waypoint. So I could try this, drop this bad boy down, and if I fill it up, it does indeed. It's like a quick little hop, skip, and a jump over to the other location. I like the idea of it, but if we need the hollow stones for like the annihilator, then I'm gonna prioritize that, of course. Green, give us some green. It's not gonna give us very much at all, is it? Nope. Yeah, so I think it is percent based, of like either what you're currently holding, or if they didn't want to create like a system where you have to continuously bank it, maybe it's based on historically how much you have mined or how much you've accumulated through conversion or something like that. I could see that being realistic, and then the number always goes up. It always feels relevant, which is would be an interesting way to scale it for sure. Either way, I think that makes more sense than like, here's 100,000, when 100,000 might mean very, very, very little. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Down the line. So, oh yeah, I think I've put this guy in the wrong place, and somebody's gonna hate that. But you know, we're here. Yeah, we got the double waypoints. It's definitely interesting. The hell gem cost is quite negligible, but I'm more thinking about like, yeah, we're gonna need the annihilator to get to the void tier. That's gonna open up probably new buildings for us, and that's gonna take 32 spooky stones, hollow stones. So in that context, let's look at what we need for that. We can sell this to get the hollow stones. We've got half the amount of blue that we need. That's the biggest thing, it seems like, is 1 million blue, 8 million black, and 16,000 chromalite. Okay, we're nowhere near that. But because I've been farming so much, or really honestly, it's because of the worms. Like, watch this purple, like, just shoot up. Boom, it's like another 100,000. That's like a 20% increase. It's great. Because of these little surges that are happening, along with a little bit of the AFK action, that, you know, it's fuel for the fire of if it is compounding interest or whatever, then what I would like to say is we are ready to go into something very new with a general decay reactor. So we'll keep the waypoint for now, no harm in it, but we will want to sell that pretty... Oh, that's where all my blue went. I was wondering. Okay. So, actually, would we have enough blue for this? Oh, no, we still need the chromalite. Let's focus one thing at a time. Chromalite is... it's just so finite. You can store, you know, 32 at a time in each of these vessels. That's going to not get you anywhere near 16,000, but hopefully the general decay reactor has something else to say about that. Dramatically improves chromalite decay performance. Does that mean it delays how long it takes, reduces the percentage chance for it to dissipate? Does it just increase the yield when we get, when it fissions? I think it's probably going to make it so that it sticks around a bit longer, but we'll see. Does not require any fuel. That's good. Give us some red. Should we then thank the squirmy wormies? I don't think so. That's going to get a bit tedious, but yeah, let's just check, kind of keep an eye on our chromalite. These celestial irradiators, I didn't want to burn too much of my celestial foam, so I keep them next to the silo. I just kind of kept them on their own to kind of refill whenever I and get a good chance, and then the reactor was running automatically. However, we'll have to see when this explodes how much we're sitting on in terms of celestial. Thank you, Spooky Stone. So this pops. It didn't really increase. It usually increases about 4K. Maybe obviously the reactor. I think these usually pop like 3 to 4K, and I expected a little bit more even after the reactor cost. But yeah, I guess the idea is if we can get a lot of these celestial radiators, which I like that. Whenever you hit Q to clone a building, you also get to go right to its tooltip, so you can kind of reference it a bit faster, which is really cool. And this is a reasonable price, I'd say. I mean, the foam is going to be a bit high, but overall, I think it's going to be definitely feasible for us to keep these going. So yeah, I guess current foam status. Do we want to keep radiating, or do we want to chill on that a bit? I almost think that I would rather have this, like, have the irradiators running automatically rather than the reactors, and see how that goes for us for a bit. Because, well, I just want to see how much chromalite we can kind of start accumulating, and also this costs a lot of the foam, whereas this is kind of a smaller amount comparatively. So we're doing really good on it. I'd just say all of our resources, all that beta pipeline needs to go. We probably want to put down another one of these catalytic preheaters. I had a few on the blue to get it built up, and then it felt unnecessary, and now it feels necessary again because we just spent like so much blue. And I guess I feel like I can't afford the waypoint with the context of blue for the moment. So I'm gonna sell the waypoints. A little sad, but we weren't really going that far with it anyways. I'm curious when you're going to be going that far that it's going to be relevant, but for right now, we can zoom out and scroll over to Spooky Stone when we need to. Yeah, but my point was I did want to make some of these catalytic preheaters, and you can actually just kind of throw them down wherever and then copy them later, which is cool. So what you want to do, swarmy wormies. That's not a hollow stone worm, is it? That would be weird. I think it's Elmarine. Not sure. Anyways. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Hard to see exactly where this stuff is. The silo's here. We always want to put next to a silo, so let's go ahead and... I think so. I think I sold that. Oh, you go over to it, then you... Yeah, okay. Here I am. Struggling with controls, just because... Oh, I haven't gotten a Karenite jump boost in a while, or at all, I think, so that's really cool. Okay, sorry, underground surround silos here. Usually, you would hit Q on an empty space to sell it. If I wanted to move it, I would hit E while I'm mousing over it, and then click it here. Okay, I got it now. Bam. That's going to go to the silo. Same with you. So, and yeah, the isometric with these tall buildings is not doing it any favors. I wonder if these always spawn on your screen or if they're somewhere else. All right, got to keep the silos down. That's one thing I feel like the last time I played I was not very good at, is keeping the silos rolling. It definitely resets all the catalysts and stuff like that very abruptly. All right, we're starting to build a little bit of chromalite, but I don't see it like going. It's still decaying pretty heavily. I'm really curious what it means by like it enhances the decay, or it another hell vault. I wouldn't mind it. Well, the biggest thing costs is red, which we have so much of. Oh my gosh, we have so much red. All right, yeah, I'm down with that. The more hell vaults we get, the more we can approach the getting new channels, excavating channels. Like I said, that's the one thing that I can't really trying to think of how I should say it, but it's not the one thing that I can't like move around, relocate. I guess I could get some extracting channels and kind of play around that a bit. That doesn't cost too much. Curious if that might be another option. And it's so small, and you need to have the pump adjacent to it. It's really not giving you a lot of space to work with. Okay. But I'm happy with where things are at right now. I want to talk about where we're going. So we'll go to that side of things. Refill our silos, make sure we're good to go there. And yeah, let's switch gears and look over at some spreadsheets. Alrighty. So, switching to this, I was hoping it was the right scene. That is what we're looking at. So we have our spreadsheet here, and we have a kind of a breakdown of what we started with. This is our first spreadsheet. We were talking about 3x3 grid, kind of maximizing that. The biggest thing was back in the day, you know, we just had, it was pretty simple. We just had destabilizers and resonators. So we had our a channel in the middle, amplified by pumps and fans, and we were just trying to see like, oh, could we make 3 blocks out of it? Could we? How many blocks is really reasonable? But things have changed a lot. Getting the excavating channel opens up a lot of potential, some headaches, but the idea was then I was like, okay, well now I still want to continue to amplify it. I wanted to make sure I'm multiplying destabilizers by resonator so we have as much chunking power on one single block as possible. But then we got into the Hell Gem injectors and the Hell Gem destabilizers, and the numbers on those is just so absurdly high comparatively. It's it's 625 times the power instead of like 4 times the power. So big deal, obviously, and allows us to chunk through even the potentially heavier stones a lot. So we kind of expanded out the idea and we said, okay, well, let's build around. If we don't like the Hell Gem injector side, we can do this and just do the multiplier. But if we want to inject some Hell Gems, this is how we go about it. Kind of a mirror system where we weren't mirroring things in the past. This was kind of the default grid, and then it just kind of horizontally and vertically mirrors from there. That's the idea. Not perfect. There were flaws in it, especially with the silos. One of the biggest issues, we definitely had to get a silo in the actual area here, and we basically, if we looked at our setup, like they're basically only created a few hotspots. Like in this little grid here that I just drew, this is basically the only super relevant area in the whole factory. The outskirts, not so much. If we want to expand beyond what we have a lot more resources to work with. They buffed or nerfed, they reduced the inflation of cost for getting a lot of stuff a bit, and yeah, we're just wiser about how things are flowing. We know that our Hell Gem injectors are going to work even during the foam. The foam isn't just going to knock out our Hell Gems 100%. So that's nice. So I've come up with this alternative. And the idea here is we're trying to get the most value out of our machines. It used to be I was just looking at these channels, which is the white ones, and saying, okay, well, I want to make sure that those are the value of those is respected because I saw the doubling cost of the first one. It turns out excavating channels only increased by 20%, and while it does require a lot of Hell Gems that we won't have for a while, when we get enough Hell Vaults, we will be able to build more channels. And we want to think, what can we do with it? So I've created a simple option of just 1, 2, 3. Basically, if you look at this 3, it just repeats. It's just a resonator, a destabilizer, an injector, and that makes it sure that each single block above it and below it, assuming the silo isn't a factor, is hitting all 3, and that's the most important thing. Beyond anything else, as long as you are destabilizing at the 625 times multiplier, you're injecting the Hell Gem that allows that to work, and you have any kind of resonator, then you're good. Even the level 1 resonator can chunk through that block relatively quickly. Obviously, we'll want to go for the Mark IIs, but even the bottom line is if you get those 3 together, you're feeling good. And after that, it's just kind of icing. It's like, okay, do we want catalysts nearby? That doubles the value for sure. I also am trying to think about this capacitor thing because I know that in a vacuum, capacitor is the most valuable tower. I call it a tower, the block breaker, so to speak. And the way I look at that is that it has the most potential to just instantly bam, 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 annihilate the cubes. However, there are some times where it gets a little jammed up. There are times where there will be blocks that it missed for whatever reason the queue to break it, and it's just sitting there doing nothing. My goal is to put a silo on every machine that needs a silo to refill it, and to fully automate it, and to make it so that we don't have to worry about it getting jammed up with the capacitors. So capacitors can increase the value, increase the rate that the blocks are broken. I think the reason that they don't break it all the time is I think the injectors, if the injector has more than a couple of blocks to manage, I think that their like attack time or cooldown or whatever is making it so that they can't always get the Hell Gem in before the capacitor attacks. And in that context, yeah, it makes sense that we get jammed up. So we could still use the capacitors, which I now have a dark purple for, but everything else is like, whatever. So the main thing is get any kind of resonator, get the Hellgem destabilizer, get the Hellgem injector, and we'll just do like these in the middle, these down the middle, and kind of go from there. Uh, I'm curious if this is going to be enough for the fans, for just two fans. They're going to be the upgraded ones, the coolant whatever's, but I'm going to monitor the impact of having three fans versus two, and kind of see how that goes. If we need to reduce how much we're investing into the capacitors, replace those with the fans, and just keep the catalysts, then that might be a good option too. There's a couple other ideas I want to try once we can reposition things. Like I was looking at maybe having just the 5x5s right next to each other, and then you can kind of do vertical lines. You could theoretically fit more stuff in here. I'm not sure entirely. Wasn't really able to explore that fully because I recognized, hey, I can't move my capacitors, and therefore I'm going to work with what I have, and we'll go from there. Technically, I guess you could try with the little channels, but again, you're in a weird spot where, I don't know, let's explore that very briefly. You're just needing so much out of this little space, right? So let's say that we only needed the two fans, which I'm not sure is accurate. But let's say that we did only need the two fans. Then what you're looking at instead is like this line here. And just kind of repeating that. I'll take the bars away just so I don't get too distracted by that part of things. But it's like, okay, well, I don't hate that. It works. You just put, silo on top, silo on bottom. And kind of go from there. It's very sensible. And then you do two, I guess you do catalyst on one side and a silo on the other. And so it would be like this, right? And you wouldn't actually even need the ones in the back so much. So you could look at it like that and be like, okay, well, that's getting the most possible value you could out of it, right? You don't have any catalysts in play, but it's simple, it's straightforward. You're getting 1, 2, 3 blocks here. If you feel like these channels are cheap, then you could even do something like this and this, and then something along these lines, just to kind of clarify what we're looking at here. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It only gives you it gives you 5 blocks per. I guess we'll do this here. So yeah, let's look at this real quick. So in this case, you're hitting 5 blocks with each combo compared to a much more elaborate process, but sometimes you're getting 2 catalysts in one space, which is kind of cool. And you're getting the power of the capacitor as well. So I think this, like, the force multipliers here of capacitor, catalyst, that's more in play in this situation than it would be in this one. There's actually zero, you can't add anything more than a single capacitor or a single catalytic refinery to any of this. Which is like, not great. Not exactly what we want. But it's not bad either. If we end up having excess machines, so yeah, I'm just kind of curious. It's like, okay, if we're always going to have at least one refinery, potentially one catalyst, potentially another. I mean, the way I look at it is the worst case scenario. I don't know the math on the catalyst. Let's just say we know the math on the refinery. This is a 200% boost, right? So it's triple value. And each of these blocks will always see 2 of these at least. Maybe this one sees 3, but all these get 2. So when you think of these as triple value blocks and these as double value blocks, it becomes more straightforward, right? For this guy, even in the worst case scenario of this guy who has a silo next to him, he's hitting 5 blocks that are triple value. minimum, and this guy's hitting 4 blocks. That's double value minimal. So definitely getting more for your money out of this method, from what I can tell. I think there's some overlap here with a few of the pieces. I think these 3 in particular. But I'm not sure the solution to that, and I don't really want to get into it. But yeah, so this is our setup. The cool thing is, I've been in spreadsheet mode for a little too long. Sorry, guys. The cool thing is, double checking, we're recording nice. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, as we slow down, thank you, Spooky Stone, for the slow gift of hollow stones. So we burn through 40 million beta piling. All right, bring it all back online. We're excited to get the upgraded silos where we can. That's going to be a big deal because then we don't have to refill them as frequently. And then just in general, a setup that actually has silos on all the different pieces. We have silos on all the critical pieces here, but I'd love to get silos on all the pieces, not have to even worry about it. Maybe the pump's a bit overkill, but you want to keep these, you see all these catalytic refineries, almost all of them are like dark. They're like not functioning to their fullest capacity, and that's because they keep on timing out. Playsaurus had another game, incremental game called Clicker Heroes, and there was a relic you could get that was like the Juggernaut. And as long as you kept clicking, you didn't stop clicking for like 20 seconds, it would decay. But as long as within every 20 seconds you clicked, it would just keep compounding. You get 10% more per click, basically. And it just kept on going up, 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 up. So that's kind of the idea of the refineries. You don't want it to stop. You want it to keep consuming to get the most value out of it. So I'm interested in trying to keep these hot and ready. And we'll have to see if that will push us into an area where we can fuel a lot of the irradiators, or what the deal is, really. So we'll scoop up a few of these. Happy to keep that going. There should be a silo somewhere. But yeah, look at this. We got the resonator. Oh, this is resonator Mark II. And it is not keeping up. See, this capacitor is the issue. The issue I was having is this capacitor. If it's working really well, but then it just kind of stops working sometimes. And so if you babysit it, it's the best tower you can have. Or I think I'll just keep calling them towers. I kind of like that idea. It's like, you're doing damage. I played a lot of tower defense as a kid. I played Warcraft 3 Winter Mall and stuff like that. So I think of it in that terminology. And yeah, effectively, these are little like spawned units that the resonators and the capacitors are attacking. So yeah, I like that. You think of like damage per second, what it really brings. And capacitor is the highest if it's working, but there's plenty of ways that it can not work. So Hellvault's going to cost a bit more for the next one. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Cool. We like it. And we're doing pretty good on those hologems. But yeah, so we're heading back over to the factory. And the cool thing is, we can just relocate everything. So we're going to take the pumps out, and we're going to try and take everything offline, and we're going to try to follow our little schematic here as best we can. I'm going to get confused by the isometric, I'll just tell you that right now, but yeah, I want to try it out, see if we can dig a lot deeper than we already have, because we have 3 different ones past 17k. This one's down to 22k, and yeah, I want to get into it. So where is our pump station? Get it out of there. All right, so theoretically, I can now clear out all the blocks. There'll be some with hell gems in them, maybe, that don't have a destabilizer. Okay, like that guy there. Full of the swarmy worms. I guess the green ones aren't really worth mousing over, because that's interesting. If you have surges before the big green crunch, you're actually going to have way more hell gems as well. So the big green crunch is going to be a more gradual process, and it's going to fuel you with a lot of these secondary gems. It actually smooths the progression flow a lot in that context, I think. It also is just kind of one of those things that, like, if they did the math on them right, it's going to make the game flow a little bit faster across the board, where it's going to feel like, oh, I should have done this a long time ago. Just seeing this all clean is so much better. You can line up all our pieces and just kind of go from there. So yeah, I just kind of look at it like, if you're not playing optimally, which I think is totally fine for a game like this, you can play it a bit casually. Just click in, check in, silo a bit, click around a little bit, see what you can do. Then in that context, you might feel like you're kind of stuck in a phase for hours. But if what you banked up kind of accumulates as its own kind of compounding interest, then yeah, it's going to be mitigating that quite a bit, because you just jump up like 10%, and suddenly you're going to get to your next objective, your next tier unlock. So that should smooth the sore spots. Like the hell gem tier, for example, took me like 2.5 hours to get through. It was a bit frustrating at times. Yeah, I learned and I figured it out, and that's cool. But like, I think any potential missteps the dev made where it might take a little bit too long to get from A to B, for the more casual player, is improved upon by having this kind of surge mechanic. So yeah, we'll see kind of how it all shakes out. But I get to line up everything so neat. This is just like, yeah, just pull the army together here, line up the troops, and then kind of sandbox. It's like a sandbox, actually. I love the idea of just being able to move this stuff around for just a small token. I think that's really neat, and allows me to play around with different build ideas and all this stuff. So I'm very hyped about this, actually. So capacitors, resonator 2. So we have to make sure we don't get those two confused too much. Don't want to put it too close to everything, but we can also, block it out differently so that we don't worry about it too much. It's going to be a little bit quieter for a while. Just me and my silent void. A few Karenite sumps chewing away, trying to figure out where in the world is Carmen Sandiego. Yeah, we'll heat some beta piling for sure. Oh, here's a big one. Or is it chromolit? Chromolit's not big. Should I click it? Why is it? It took a while to get out. Nice little jump. But yeah, these two resources are not going to be as enticing for the surges, because it does seem like it is dramatically more with the others. And I have had a lot more hell gems and chromos in the past, so I don't think it's a historical. I do think it's like percent of what you currently have, or you'd see a lot bigger hell gem spike. Unless it's reacting with the celestial foam as soon as I get it, but I think you would hear that audibly. So, yep, let's get our stuff together. Continue. It's going to take a little while to get all these pieces in place, so I do not want to be super meticulous about this. It is cool to kind of see all the machines kind of on the side, but I also don't want to be offline for like an hour just chit-chatting. So, okay, capacitors are bigger, bulkier ones. Same color scheme, but they're hefty fellas. We ended up using a lot more resonators compared to the capacitors. Yeah, I had those like 3 critical, thank you Spooky Stone, critical position capacitors, and those were cool, but they, yeah, left an opening for us to go further with it. So I'm actually glad we have the resonator 2s, because that means that we're already in a position to really start utilizing the space better. And look at that. It's a blank canvas. In just like a couple minutes, you could just rearrange. It's like all this stuff. We zoom out. We're like, yeah, this is our setup. I'm into it. All right. So, gonna go ahead and pull up everything. 34 minutes in. Not too bad a time to get started on a big old change up. Oh, we're slow motion again. Put the ingredients in, and we're back to full speed. All right. So we got these channels. And let's kind of get started here. The main thing that we want to focus on is this kind of center line. So we'll put our industrial silo in the middle, which should be there. And I almost got the wrong one. There we go. Bop, bop, bop. That should be right. and then everything kind of expands from there. Before we had like 4 of the same thing in the middle, but there is a lot of redundancy there, and it's not about the multiplier anymore. It's about making sure that we are getting the pieces that we need to make the kind of chemical reaction, so to speak. Thank you, Spooky Stone. So we'll make sure each one of these guys has one here. It's like the opposite side is clear. Cool. So we'll just do that. And then, yeah, these hell gem injectors are very important. We're going to need a few more of them, I believe. But for right now, let's just start with what we have. Nope. One more further down. Yeah, every 3, right? And then in this case, it's, yeah, 2 above this. And can we get one more at least? Yes, we can. There we go. It looks like we're lacking exactly one more. We actually can afford a lot of this stuff. That's great. But I don't want to worry about it too much right now, because I don't want to like make it so that I run out of enough for like the hell gem destabilizers, for example. Those are super important. So speaking of, let's go ahead and move those into bad boys into position. 1 above, 1 below. And this is where like I actually love this change where you can just kind of reposition everything, because now it's like it feels like my designs have more meaning. And also you can evolve your designs and don't have to plan it all out all in advance. I think that's all really cool, and makes me really want to play this more. You know, there's definitely some burnout points where I'm like, okay, is it really worth booting it up? Maybe I'll just do like I won't do like a lot of commentary and talking and innovation, but I can just time lapse it. It's like, no, I want to play the game, you know? And this kind of feels more like I get to play. I get build some blueprints and go from there. So nice Karenite boost here. Pull it on up. Boom, 4 million, just like that. So yeah, you're always just going to see gradual improvement. So we'll put our resonators in play now. It should be pretty obvious where they fit into the whole equation, but just in case. So we'll have to see, can we get a new hell gem destabilizer right here? We can. And that controls that line nicely. And then, yeah, resonators throughout. Resonator 2s. Wow, we had all these machines available all along. We just didn't, I don't feel like we were really utilizing them that well, because they weren't next to the hell gem pieces or whatever. Like, it actually makes a huge difference, I think. So obviously a big part of this is going to be the silos. And that's where I started with, is making sure there's a silo next to everything. I know that there was way too much downtime where I was not refilling random pieces or was not siloing frequently enough. And I want to avoid that. So I want to get all the level 2 silos in a good spot and go from there. Let's see. Let's make sure we have fan action, though. That's going to be really important. So we have one more cooler, or whatever. What is this thing called? Active channel cooler. And we're going to want to put one of those there. Put a fan here. And it's going to get so loud comparatively in just a second here, but look at the bottom right one, not the top right one. Let's look at the top right one. 3 sides. This one, you wouldn't normally have a third cooler here, except there's no, there's not going to be a, whatchamacallit, a silo in the way. So unless I plan on manually refilling this spot, I might as well just make it a fan, which is one of the only objects that doesn't require fuel. Thank you, Spooky Stone. That was a little weird for you. A little different this time. Mixing it up. Spooky Stone's feeling sick today. I don't know what's going on with him. Alrighty. Put in the coolers in their place. There's 2 on this one. We already got that covered. And then there's 3 on this one. Is the current game plan. And yeah, is this cheap enough that I can just kind of spam these upgrades Just double checking that I'm not going to burn through a resource all of a sudden. I mean, obviously the chromalite is going to be a bit limited, but as we accumulate that, by popping a couple of those in, I think we can try to get a few more active channel cooler upgrades. But in the meantime, it looks like 2, 3, 2, 3, and I do think we can make some adjustments if it turns out we're not actually digging up the stuff fast enough. If we're chewing through too many blocks from a single channel, which is definitely possible, then we at the very least would kind of take out what I consider optional spot of the capacitor. But for right now, we want the capacitor in play, and we're going to be adding some more refineries too. There's an active channel cooler. Pop that bad boy right there, and another one right here. Cool. So everybody's got 2, and we can get a third one here, and a third one here. Wow, we're cooking. And it's not, I don't even feel regret of like, oh, I could have been doing this all along. It's like the malleability of the system in place was a bit limited in some ways. And then also, like, I showed you progression sheet 1 through sheet 3. It's just like, playing every couple of days instead of taking a step back and taking a fresh look then in the future and putting some real thought time into it. You can just see like an iterative process that doesn't really, take the moment to kind of reset everything. It just kind of makes an adjustment here, adjustment there. So as far as I can tell, we just need the silos in play, and we're getting very close to being ready to go. I can put a few of these capacitors in position where they're appropriate. Let's go with one here. So I hit the wrong hotkey. And one here. Cool. And now it's silo time. Hopefully we have enough resources for this. Let's check it out. Looks like we can get quite a few of these from what I can tell. And excited about that. First we'll place them, then we'll upgrade them. But yeah, one here. One in the middle. One above this refinery. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Oftentimes, they just happen to be finding themselves next to the capacitors, which is a good litmus to know that we're putting it in the right spot. And so these 3, 1, 2, this one's covered, then yeah, right here. Makes sense. The power of spreadsheets, man. Actually don't know if I would have been able to come up with anything nearly as good just by looking at it, eyeballing it. It's definitely feels good to kind of have the grid planned out until the dev creates a new setup and it's like hexagonal and I can't use Google Sheets to try to extrapolate on it. And that'll be the end of the world. What are we working towards here? Are we going to blow this entire system up as we continue to expand on things? A new refinery, we do want to keep that build up where we can. That'll be a slightly higher priority than the upgraded silos. So we'll do that at these junctures. I believe here, here. We can actually make a lot of these, which is great. I think I want to try to... these are all pump. That's it. It's because of the silo right here. All pump in these radiators. It's doing really well and constantly fueling. We got to watch out for the reactor. It's eating a lot as well, but that's why we don't have enough gemmage. What should we call it? Chromalite. Do I want to move it for a sec? Okay, it's just not gonna which is fine. Yeah, I mean, you can always fill this in later, right? It's a little harder with the other cubes, but where are we at? Is it here? Yep. And here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think that's where we were at. And unless it turns out thank you, Spooky Stone, that a few adjustments are made, I think that's all we're gonna need. can fill in the gaps with the capacitors now. And it looks like we have enough resources that we're kind of golden. We can bring these guys in and upgrade them from here. And it does feel like just the amount of raw resources I have to play around with after these surges kind of came into play is so much greater. And so that's nice. See, factory slowdown doesn't really affect us because there's not a lot of automated processes going on right now. It looks like a speed boost, though. If you see the beta Pylene, there's tons of red flowing in from the north, and that's because I think their rate is increased. But let's wrap this up, shall we? I have one here. I have one over here. Just looking at the dark purple on my spreadsheet. One over there. One more down here. Dig it up. And one at each of these locations. And all that feels pretty good. Let me just make sure. But, I mean, we got the whole block, right? You can put one here for sure. And likewise over there. If you just want to do like a entropy resonator. Yeah, so they should kind of bookend it. One here, one here, one here, one here. And then, yeah, one over here. And over here, and over here, and over here. Cool. I'm liking what I see. Any other oddballs? I think there was one at the end of this line. And after that, it's just a few more silos. So, go ahead and pop this one down here. Pop one over here. And then silo in the back, silo in the front, silo in the front, silo in the back. Very quiet, the calm before the storm. Boom. We'll see if I just completely missed a random location. Because I can put this one here instead. No, we still need one up here for the pump. So that's going to be beneath the fan. So I'll just put that one there instead. Looks a little better. And then, you know, we get one more of these. And I think we're about ready to go. Do we want to do a quick head count? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, we'll notice if it's not getting fueled, right? So I'm not too worried about it. We can upgrade these underground silos where we can, or we can get the capacitors. Yeah, we can do this later. Do the capacitors first. So where's capacitors? Right here. And yeah, wherever you see purple, try a capacitor. Can definitely help improve things, I'm pretty sure. Okay, and that's plenty. Channels moving in. Pump stations activating on the corners. And let there be cubes. Oh, we need a crumblet for that. Awkward. Even with the preheater stuff, I don't know how I'm going to be able to use all of that data piling. It's actually kind of insane. Don't know if you're ever supposed to, really. So, first sign of success is that we are seeing the catalytic refineries all sitting on orange. That means that we are crunching blocks at a good enough rate for us to feel like we're getting somewhere. Maybe a little bit less on this side. You definitely do go for an upgrade over here. So these can be the capacitors. Thank you, Spooky Stone. And then whenever one of these pops, theoretically, they should be expediting the whole process and not just leaving it to the... Oh, this is a capacitor? Okay, no, that's fine. It's just this one entropy resonator 2 has to carry a lot of burden. We'll keep an eye on that. But let's make sure we have enough of the big white silos, wherever they may be needed. They will increase in cost, I think 10 or 20%, but as long as we have a chromolit flow, I think it's not going to be a problem to maintain these for the resource we have. Actually, it's actually requiring a lot of Karenite, so that's one thing we'll have to keep an eye on, is how much of the black stuff we're using. But the idea is that it should be filling our coffers with a lot of resources very soon if we're just smart about how we use it. So we'll keep an eye on things. But yeah, I've got 16 of these. It's going to start costing more and more, you know? So I'm feeling like this might need to be Resonator 2, or... Do I not have a... There's a chance I messed up on the location of a destabilizer, and I think that's probably the case. Because we look at the center here, we have Hellgem Injector, we have Capacitor. The destabilizer is here. Okay, yeah, Silo, Injector, Destabilizer. There's no destabilizer over here next to this injector. There should be. So this entropy capacitor is supposed to be moved here. Actually, I think it wasn't even a capacitor. It was a resonator 2. So let's go move our capacitor out, move our resonator 2 in here, but we need to get another destabilizer. Right there. That's the problem. Here's your problem. Too many toasters. So we'll go ahead and grab a Hellgem destabilizer. Drop the bad boy over here. Oh, the speed boost right now is so great. Let's go, factory. Refineries are heating up. Across the board, it's looking much better. I'm into it. This is great. And we just basically need to make sure we see these little DH3s in every part of the factory, but it looks clean now. It looks so much better. All right, let's look at fan speed. Let's see, are we filling the spots fast enough? And why is that guy not moving, actually? Do I not have anything in the corners? I don't, because the silo placement. So these two in the middle here are not actually going to get broken because the silo is in the middle. So what I kind of want to do is move everything in the middle up around a little bit so that I can avoid having a silo there. Yeah, I can do that. So what I'm going to do is take the center line and reposition it in a way that makes me allowed to move the silo down, and then we can move everything to the left one in the center file. That will definitely create some unforeseen stuff, but in general it should be an improvement because it guarantees those two blocks get some involvement instead of being completely useless. I mean, you can always put like catalyst there and they can hit two things, but I'd rather yeah, just adjust and ooh, give us the red. Boom. Look, 73 million. That's so absurd. All right. Maybe that's a little too strong. I don't know. It depends really what we're getting ourselves into. I can't imagine. Maybe they changed cost or something to factor it in. I'm curious. But that is kind of crazy. All right, so this is a resonator 2. The silo is not underneath it yet, so let's put the silo in. And now everything else that would have been there gets to play, right? So that means... there's a chance there might be missing a Hell Gem injector spot, which means that there will be one that breaks very slowly, but it's not. At least it's not 0. It's not like it's not breaking at all. So let's just do what we had. These are the destabilizers. Goes under the silo, then the injector, and then the resonator. And then another destabilizer. And then you could do another injector. And another silo. Alright. So keeping an eye on that. So this is a green one. We want blue here. Looking out for any other green boys, but everything looks pretty good right now. Give me the juice. Spooky star. My god, it's full of stars. It's full of cubes. Dude, we're just crunching. This is so much more than we've ever crunched by a wide margin. It's actually massive. Like, even with all of these surges, we're still crunching a massive amount of, like, base cubage. So that's really cool. And you like to see a good build just work. Now I put on the sidelines, I put the light purple as if I'm going to use resonators. So the reason I would use a resonator here instead of a capacitor. There's a resonator here. I think capacitor is even better here because the Hell Gem is more likely to inject immediately. So I'm going to capacitor those for sure. And I also have more resonators than I do capacitors, so the cost inflation factor. So. Oh no, turn back to that end. It's fine. Yeah, if I could get a little bit more capacitor action, that'd be great. So I just need to go ahead and grab me one of these, bring it over here, and make sure that these guys stay online. And then I'm going to actually now that I have upgraded most of my silos, level 1s, to silos level 2, the industrials, I actually can go and start running a more underground silo, like restructure this whole system and get more silo. Just expand on the converters as a whole, really. Alrighty. But yeah, we want to make sure these are staying online. We need to keep a relatively smooth flow of chromalite, and I imagine we're going to be able to get a lot more of them soon. I'm not sure. How much? What do they need, really? That's kind of important. 500,000 black. Definitely adds up. And a very substantial amount of celestial as well. Keep moving, keep moving. Doing good. Alright, I'm just gonna sell this. Whoa, it's valuable. We could get another celestial reactor. Do we want that? No. I mean, it gives us more red, but we have so much red. We can't even work with it. We're doing really good, though. I mean, we're crunching down. Look at the speed here. 23.6k. Blocks are falling everywhere. You see these resonator 1s? We want to get resonator 2s where we can. Or no, we want the capacitors, right? So capacitors can flow. We just go wherever we see purple. At least they kind of stand out a little bit more than their counterparts. 2, 3. Yeah, it's going to be on the sidelines no matter where we put it, so we might as well just put it here, here, here. And I think that about covers it. Wow. We are all the way online with our setup. We got to keep the silos filled, but otherwise there's not actually a lot that we need to be doing here, from what I can tell, to maintain things. I did move everything to the left, right? So technically speaking, there's one more slot here if we want to put another resonator in particular. Probably one of these, right? So we have those right here, ready to go. And bam. Now we got rid of some of these industrial destabilizers, but since we're injecting so many hell gems, it doesn't seem to matter too much. I wish there was like in Factorio there's like a statistics tab where you can see like your production rate, and I'd love to see our crunch rate on this stuff, but so this is a resonator 2, this is a resonator 2, injector and stabilizer. This catalyst was down for a little bit. I think I just had a silo down. But I like seeing the red heat. Just gotta make sure our silos are up and running. And then this guy should fill up again pretty soon too. Now, like I was thinking, I think this guy's out of range of injectors. Let's see, injector here. It's gonna be over on the opposite side, actually. It's gonna be... No, it should be okay. Because everything moved to the left one. So there's actually injector accessing both of these. Which means everything's in range. No, it's straight up perfect. That small adjustment is all we really needed. Remove the silo down. It does weaken these two corners a little bit, but not that much. And it functions really well. Love when a good plan comes together. Wait, this guy doesn't have a silo now? Is he the only one? Maybe that's why we were seeing a weaker catalyst refinery here. Yep, he wouldn't have a... So the answer to that, of course, is we want to move this over to here, which we can do even better in slow motion. And then bring this guy down here. And now, yeah, everybody's automated. Lose a little bit of a higher value capital in this location, but like, actually don't think it changes too much. Not really, it's just one block for another. Well, at the beforehand, this silo was off grid, and now it's on grid, so we do lose one block in the process, but don't mind it at all. Feeling good, man. This is great. Who needs my... Okay, so this guy's silo list too? Well, easy fix there. Bam, bam, bam. Perfect. And I like the indicator. Give me them El Marines. I just like doubled. What? It's so absurd. Yeah, the surges might be too strong. Starting to make my new cool factory feel like it's not even doing that much, because at the end of the day, you just have to get a good base deposit in, and then the surges do the rest. But I do love like a manual pop-up of some high value. I played a lot of Cookie Clicker, and even just getting like a random golden cookie that popped up, and you click it and it gives you, I think 15% or like 15 minutes worth of cookies is great. And then you get the 7x multiplier on that, and da-da-da-da. It's just like, you know, you're rewarded for some degree of active play without having to sit here the whole time. Now that we have Silo 2. Silo 1 or no silos at all, yeah, it's still a pretty active game. Now it's like, ooh, we'll just kind of do something else, watch some YouTube or something, and then just kind of tab back in and grab a search. But yeah, as we look more at our what should we call it, fill director, we can see there's not really much to do here. Everything is designed to be automatic, so give me that surge. Yeah, we can actually just stop being at this space. I'm wondering if there's a way to turn on audio in the background where, like, if you alt tab it still has audio, because like I said, this would be pretty good to just kind of alt tab the game and do some of that. But I don't know if it if you can even have the background sound. Because there were some sounds that were kind of grating to me at first, but I think all of it kind of meshes together really nicely now. I'm very curious. Maybe they could do like a blog post on the sound design of the game, because I do think that in this kind of a game, that's the hardest thing to get right, and actually it has a very subtle impact on how much you enjoy the game. Like, when the big green crunch happened, I was shuddering. Like, it was intentionally bad sound design. But, like, this is, like, so many different things. Crunches and the steam release of the catalytic refineries, but it doesn't feel bad. It's so many different pieces, but it all feels pretty good. Alright, again, I wanted to review the fan speed. Do we feel like we're getting enough fan speed, or do we think we would benefit from a bit more? I actually think we benefit from a bit more, so that would have us removing the catalytic refineries. Right now, I'll just move them out of the way. And then we'll have to bring in some fans right here. This isn't right, is it? No, it's right here. Cool. So I got a fan here. We want 3 fans on each. This is kind of my current interpretation. And then the natural place for them is going to be right here. So it has to be adjacent to the channel. And there's really, the only spot is going to be at this top part. And I think the refineries are in a great place. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. This does 2 things. First, it gives us an extra fan, but it also takes away a capacitor, which means that, like, the thing the capacitor adds is breaking a block really quickly so that you can get a new block. And so that extra requirement of give me a new block is, on the plus side, you get the new block. I'm trying to say words. I don't know if I'm actually coming. Let me try this again. The faster you break the blocks, the faster you need the blocks. So you would think that just breaking blocks faster is good. But if you're not supplying them fast enough, you create a bottleneck where your extraction is the delay in the process, and however fast you break the blocks isn't actually all that helpful. So I'm trying to keep that in mind. And I think that the end result could be pretty good. Now this has 3 already, so I think we can keep what we had there. And then really focus on the ones that only had 2, which is this one here. Alright, so yeah, the outskirts ones had 2 fans instead of 3. Now we'll upgrade the active channel cooler. And hopefully they can be crunching at a speed that we can appreciate. Another thing I could do is like take these really low cost items and kind of fill this space in it so that we could just kind of see things better, you know? I don't know how much that affects like the overall visual quality of life, but I kind of like it. Because these guys are not designed to be crunched. Well, I guess... Oh, which was this? Okay. Nice little boost of chromalite. Yeah, just it bumped into 11k chromalite all of a sudden. Yeah, so I guess I can break this. It's just the 3 in the corner, really, that are a little bit unnecessary. So I can just kind of find something cheap to fill the spots and I like the visual spacing a bit better that way. So like, even this one is going to take so long to chunk, right? Or is this a capacitor? Capacitor is not even going to re-chunk it. Is that true here too? Okay, then we can fill the fourth. Actually, now that I look at it, if we're not chunking... There's a resonator too, right? Why is it taking so... Because my destabilizer is not filled because the silo's down. Okay. Now we see... Silos are important. I'm terrified to see what the new costs are in the future. Or maybe it's just to kind of trivialize the old resource acquisition and just focus on the new one. It's like, okay, now void's the thing you need to focus on getting, and everything else kind of naturally accumulates. It's like, it's not bad, but I kind of like the whole get a lot of red, turn it into black, turn the black into blue and yellow. It just had its own unique flavor to it. And we'll just have to see how it progresses. But that's, you know, I'm happy with how things are at, where things are at there. We definitely could benefit from, let's just remove a few of these excess things. All right. And just take stock in what we built. This is awesome. Everything's online. Silo every once in a while pops up, but that's a natural thing. We're going fast. It's going to happen. And we're pretty happy with it, I'd say. So, Mega Block Cruncher. This is now what I would recommend for anybody if you have this channel set up. If you can squish your channels together, I do believe that there might be a better way, but for what I have available for the channels being with 1 point of separation, I think is as close to optimal for the technology that I have available as you're going to get. This will get you through to Celestial Foam in a big way, I'd say. If you were to copy this right after you get the... even before you get the improved resonators, honestly, once you hit Hell Gem, you could copy this build and it would actually do a lot for you. Obviously, the refineries don't come into play, but everything else I think is pretty good. Alrighty. So we're gonna have to look at the radiators very shortly, but let me just go ahead and double check that I'm not missing anything in terms of other goals. I really want to get the decay thingy for whatever it provides. We got the one... Wow, we're gonna burn a lot of blue here. Here I thought I had so much blue, but I think we need to relocate one of these refineries or just build a new one. What is it? Catalytic preheater. Yeah, let's drop one of those here. Give me some big red. And we'll go ahead and... Oopsie. Throw this one... Hotkeys, 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 hotkeys. There we go. Throw another catalytic preheater right there. You can do another one. Just speed up the whole conversion process. Always a good thing. And these guys can chill at the bottom, no problem. That's kind of what happened with these extras here as well. Yeah, I don't really care. I'll be honest, the whole Celestial Reactor and getting all these reflectors up, I was like, okay, I really want that online because I feel like the beta... What I'm reading when I read this tooltip and I see can't operate in close proximity to other Celestial Reactors, I'm thinking, oh, they don't want you to mask this in the same way. They want you to design around it as if it's own kind of like high priority factory unit. And I thought because of that, and even the Celestial Reflector improving its performance, all that together, I'm like, I'm gonna need a lot of red. I'm recognizing I'm gonna need to react how I use the celestial reactor is important. It's like when you unlock nuclear reactors. So I started thinking, okay, well that's gonna be my bottleneck. I better get ready and start thinking about how to use it. But then we suddenly have 140 million red, and I don't really feel that way anymore. So I don't know. Game's interesting, that's for sure. Get these silos down. Boom, just mouse over it all. Boom, 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 boom. Factory online. Yeah, and these preheaters, or the catalytic refineries, seeing how hot they get is definitely a good diagnostic for making sure that your build's right, and then it does what you want it to do. I guess there's a block here that we're not really... Yeah, I guess these guys are sometimes gonna actually do something, right? So do we want to put Hell Gem? So let's check out these refineries. I guess we could actually put something... No, this one doesn't matter. This one doesn't matter, but this one... I think I just delete this, right? Delete it, it spawns one. It breaks it slowly, but it's a capacitor, so we've been over this. So it's not going to do anything. And the same would be... but this one's a resonator too. Why is this a resonator too, not a capacitor? Should be just a capacitor, right? Because we already have a resonator 2 here, and the role is to just chunk it as soon as you can, and hope the ejector prioritizes it because it's only hitting 2 spaces, which I don't think is unreasonable. So this is actually just the wrong one. We'll move him out. As we go slow motion again. Go back up to the resonators, which are all grouped up together nicely, and the Q hotkey brings it right to where I want to be instead of scrolling around for an hour. Really like that. And we'll have to make sure it's next to the silo, right here. And we want the capacitor. Or is it supposed to be the capacitor here? Double check my build. Okay, it's supposed to be above the... No, it's in the right spot. But the silo had to be moved up, so it's half as effective. Okay. Not a big deal. It's still working. That's the important thing. Capacitor here. Capacitor here. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell the difference between the two, but... No. Looks like we got exactly what we want. Just one capacitor was a resonator, and everything else looks fine. Very cool. Yeah, so we don't seem to have any lag on pulling from the earth anymore. Just basically spawns immediately and breaks immediately, and I love to see it. So some of them are working better than others. Obviously the ones next to capacitors are going to be doing really well. But across the board, we are crushing it. Very happy to see. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Getting a lot of that juice. Let's see what is next. We're just going to sell that. Yeah, we can. Check back up top. Grab a few of these. So this is kind of like the time factor limitation of like, okay, unless something about what we're doing in the digging process, it makes them spawn faster. Maybe they spawn based on how, like, every time you hit 1,000, an extra 1,000 meters or something like that, then it wouldn't be time-based, right? It would be progress-based. So I'm actually curious if it is a time gate or if it's has its own progression pattern. In theory, we could also duplicate some of what we learned over to this one. I'd be really interested in doing that. Because it's exactly the same as we did before, just maybe a little bit less of it, depending on the resources. I'll probably do that off of the recording, but yeah, I might take a look at that. Right now, though, I'm really happy with this central position. There's so much that we're getting value out of, and we're just crushing through. Alright, before we wrap up here, new hell vault's always a good option, so I'll go back up to where they belong. And Thank you, Spooky Stone. I feel like I've missed a few thank yous, so I'll just add in a few more. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Sometimes you just gotta focus on some other things. Yeah, I definitely think we can get this new streamer tower, whatever it does. Compresses moving resources even more. And then, yeah, we're just saving up for... We're trying to figure out how to get more chromalite, which I imagine is just going to be a lot of irradiators stacked up on some catalytic refineries and going from there. So excited about that prospect. We're going to go ahead and start with the material streamer tower upgrade right over here. See how it looks a little bit different. It's going to be this one. Just making sure it's worth it. Make sure we're not bottlenecking ourselves anywhere with this. It definitely costs a lot, but it's not obtuse. We're good. Boom. Whoa. So it's just like clumps it all together now. It's kind of the opposite of what I expected. Like you see the little white ones, they're small. So you see these big red chunks, and I'm like not fully understanding why that's happening. I feel like this one might be more distracting than the last one. But there is less on the screen for sure. It's just the big chunky ones are... Again, it's one of those things that psychologically it'll just fall into the background in a bit and I won't even think about it. But for right now, it's weird. Everything gets a little bit faster. Everything gets a little bit more. Everything keeps slowing. Check in on our silos. Ooh. Yeah, so just every like 5 minutes I have to do that, and then everything else feels pretty good, I think. So this is a capacitor. And if it doesn't break that the first time, which is not going to because of the Hell Gem injector status, then you don't need it. So we'll go ahead and do what we're doing over on the other side. Cool. Same here. Yeah, we're just focusing on the ones we're actually amplifying, which is everything on the center line. It's beautiful. It's really good. What is this going to be? Give me Hollowstone? What do you got for me, bud? What is this? It did. It gave you 4 Hollowstone. So even that's going to be accumulating. Alright, I think we're past time where we need to get a dedicated place for these irradiators. I'm going to go ahead and make a line right here. Do we want to move these? I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Oopsie. Oh, I can always sell it back. I actually don't know how much these really help, but we'll see. Happy with that. Just casual 2 o'clock in the morning factoring. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Weird, I can actually select the text here. I guess this might just be like a Unity thing or whatever this is built on, but not sure if that was the case before. Alrighty. No more distractions. Let's move some irradiators. 1, 2. Yeah, I don't know if I want that automated just yet, so we'll just keep this set up here for the moment. Mostly making some design, like aesthetic choices more to the factory more than anything right now. But yeah, here we go. So we gotta see how many we can really of these we can really pump out. I think our goal should be to put them in 3x3 pattern so we can actually get some refinery action going on here. So what do we need? We need the least of the yellow. So we can take a few of the yellow's refinery stuff. Grab that. Do that. We want the silo as well. Technically it should be the other way around, but we're on manual for the moment. Let me just build another silo. We don't have to steal this. Oh wait, so my game plan was actually going to change. It was going to be what we're going to do is we're going to move the silos on the outside here. I guess that doesn't help the center column. Let's see, so we're right here, here. So there'll be 2 that don't get refilled. And it's like, do I want 2 that are not automatically refilled, or do I want 1 that is automatically refilled and 1 that's a silo? And that's the trade-off. I guess if 1 that's a silo is the way to go, for sure. But these do cost a lot of foam, that's for sure. They're radiating a lot of foam as well. Gotta keep that in mind. But we are getting chromalite. We're accumulating a chromalite at a rate that exceeds the fission. It seemed like it anyways, for a little bit. There we go. How much is it going to cost to upgrade these? Probably too much for right now. Silo check. But yeah, we definitely can walk away from this for more time without it just being like, yeah, I don't work anymore. There's a big difference between when we were like building our factory up top by the hollow stone. This was offline for well over half the episode. But now it's just like, oh yeah, I'll just check in every once in a while. Make sure everybody's doing their job. Not have to micromanage it so much, which is nice. Alright, alright, we got chromalite, at least for the moment. Annihilator. Let's see. We have 16k. We have 32. Everything's coming together. We need the blue. We need blue in a big way. And I think that's it. Kind of curious where all our blue went. Obviously, we're using a lot more blue for the Hell Gem Injector strat. But I feel like I've just been burning it on a few buildings in particular. Catalytic preheater, I remember taking a lot. And the capacitor resonators and all that stuff. Okay. No big. Oh, that Hell Vault. Do you think we saw a Hell Vault for a little bit? I like Hell Gem progress, but we don't need it right now. It's not creating anything for us. And yeah, I want to start farming Void, so yeah, of course. We're going to sell a Hell Vault. Bam, bam, bam. As the worms. They seem to scale even as you zoom out, which is cool too. So you can always see them pretty well. Wow, that was a tough one to pull. Maybe it was a good one. Maybe it was a juicy worm. You guys will have to look at the VOD, tell me. But yeah, we saw that. That is where a lot of our blue went. And now we can bring that all back online and say, it's Annihilator time. I think it's a one-off. Let's put it down. See what happens with it. Oh, we do have to refuel it. But we're going to put a... where the sun don't shine. Get some void. Whoa, that looks so cool. All right, this is... I mean, like, they do have, like, some animation going on with, like, the sumps, but... this is the most animated thing by far. This is wild looking. What in the world? Alright, we're gonna go ahead. Wow. Wow, this new cube is pitch black and it feels somewhat otherworldly. More otherworldly than the previous one? It's different. It's freezing cold, but not in a harmful way. Like it lacks the concept of temperature and it doesn't interact with you. It is not made of matter. It doesn't have color. Or anything familiar, if it makes sense to you. Alright. Well, Well, let's move that over here. Get our little thumbnail going. That is a very interesting little thing. Frankly, it does not. I'm right there with you. So it's like microchip, like it's like a motherboard electrical layout kind of thing on the little cubes. Not like kind of like runes, but I would say it reminds me more of like a some kind of motherboard type circuit. And then yeah, the different plates of. Ooh, and they open. Okay, so they open the little cube, and is it coming in? Is it going out? Is it just bubbling? It's very interesting. Well, that is what we are working with right now. On that side of things, it's very cool. We are now accumulating void. We can now build a hollow flower. Reduces chance of time warp. You build a hollow flower on a hollow stone, and it will reduce the amount of times that time warp effect occurs. Okay. Well, we want to make sure we go ahead and get the upgraded silo here. And keep this guy working. Don't have enough for over here, but we like our chromolet doing stuff too when we can. Not that we really need the... yeah, I'm trying to think, how much more do we need the... I mean, we have a lot of foam too. Yeah, I don't know how much chromolet I need to kind of bank up right now. Yeah, let's look at our other items. Because, again, the house flower is cool. Building on the stones is interesting, and removing what is supposed to be like a disruptive aesthetic thing is good quality of life, but doesn't propel me forward. Thank you, Spooky Stone. So what did I unlock that will move forward? Doubles the maximum amount of hollow stones and increases their spawn rate. 32k. I have enough for a lot of that. Just the blue. Blue is my current... and black. Okay. So we really want to be making a lot more of this action. So we're going to be setting up the catalytic refineries all across the board here. Catalytic preheaters, whatever they're called. I think I need one here. But I need a little bit of black to make that happen. Interesting. So since we're quite good on yellow, I'm gonna go ahead and borrow this one again. But yeah, costs continue to balloon. We'll have to keep things moving in the super factory. Alrighty, so yeah, just checking out real quick before we call it a night. Doubles hollow stones. We can dig that. What else do we have with void in it? It's a brand new resource. It's got to have one or two more things. There it is. An entropy resonator 2 upgrade. So resonator 3 effectively. When annihilation occurs, which I believe is a technical term for the hell gems mixing with the celestial foams at whatever threshold, the resonator crushes cubes around it with immense power. Interesting. I could see us trying it here. Let's check it out. I can't even tell, like, what's happening. Is it just breaking them instantly? Interesting. And it's not like annihilation occurring will trigger one. So this is there's a couple interesting things about this. Number one, oh, the time warp can be good sometimes. Speed, 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 speed. So there's two things that are interesting about this. First of all, it looks like even if you have just one annihilation, I bet that it'll hit all of these. The second thing is it's triggered more frequently when you're mining more hell gems, which you're not always doing. So it encourages you to kind of have like a reset factory where you sell and re-buy things at the hell gem tier. So I'm curious about that. How we can basically, if you can maximize how many hell gems you're farming, it also makes vaults like reduce their DPS the more vaults you have. So if you like run very low vault count, like if you just sell all your hell vaults and put that money aside, you can actually increase how frequently your towers fire. So that might be an interesting play. It's like, oh, I'm not spending hell gems for a bit. I'm just gonna bank all the... I'm just gonna make sure my void resonators pop off like crazy whenever. Another thing is when we need to define immense power, because if it just one-shots almost any block, regardless of destabilization or hell gem status, then maybe we could redesign the entire factory over not having hell gem injectors and having just industrial state destabs or whatever. Like, it's hard for me to measure. I'll have to do some testing to kind of see like the potential effect, but it's cool looking. I like it. And it gives me an incentive to, you know, make sure that we're very active with our mean green factory over here, right? If I can even find it. There it is. So yeah, just an example real quick. Well, let's bring all this stuff online, right? Make sure all this stuff is actively working the way it's supposed to. Yeah, just biggest thing is making sure we have some good entropy boys. Consistent destabilization. So you don't need the injector here. You can just alternate, right? So if I could grab myself... But also we have to listen to that sound more, and I think it's even magnifying it because it's part of the game mechanic now. Because, yeah, like we're getting purple... Maybe it's just because we're making void, but, you know, the screen flashing purple and the sound being louder is a deliberate thing that I'm not entirely the biggest fan of. I think that's why they added this setting here where you could just like turn the flashy lights off for a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. There's like a sensory thing that is bothering me a bit. Already the audio is not great, but combining with the purple flash, I think we can just chill on the purple flash for a little bit. But yeah, anyways, you know, we can put some entropy resonator twos here. You know what's weird is if we put the void resonators here, it's like, you know, a coal mine that runs on coal-based fuel source in Factorio. It's like it can run itself out. If you don't have annihilation occurring, like, then your void resonators aren't going to run, and then what? So, pretty interesting. We're just gonna run the resonator twos here for a bit, but same thing as before. We want destabilizer. Is this too low now? I could always resell this, but I can't replace it because annihilation could occur. So I don't know. But yeah, we're doing this. We're doing hell gem destabilizer. And then we want to do the resonators. Number 2. And we'll have to like figure out the whole silo situation here, because right now current silo setup is not great. I think as a baseline, you can go ahead and just do something like this. And that'll at least kind of hold you over. Then you don't have enough for the hell gem destabilizer. That's okay. Do a little bit of resonator action. And one more silo over here, probably, to keep that going. If I can even afford it. Yeah, we gotta make sure we're at the right tier of hell gemage, or... Because if this guy gets to the chromalite tier, then we just don't have hell gems. And we can't void entry, we have to sell our void boys. Very peculiar. Something to think about. But I am very happy to see we have the new resource to work with. So that gave us a new tower. But that, again, is not giving us a new goal. So let's go ahead and see if there's anything else. We have the void resonator. See, now we're not reacting at all. We're not generating void. But we can always do the little guys, right? We can still do this, a setup like this. We were talking about this setup quite a bit. Multiple extracting channels, kind of like going here. And we can also do something like this. And I think that that will work just fine. So if this is at the wrong tier where we're not getting hell gems, then we can just move everything over here and do it here instead. Can't move the extractors, but we can move the things that are associated with them. I think there'll be a spot right here that I'm not mining unless I do this. Man, it's so nice to just be able to move stuff and be like, yep, no big issue, not worrying about resources and other ways that can become very complicated. Just be like, that's gonna go here now. All right, so yeah, for example, we do that and we pull a pump here, here, here. And the nice thing about the little setup is that the silo positioning is actually really easy. These are resonators, right? Yeah, so they'll be fine. Why can't I move you? I'm mousing over the wrong thing, that's why. And then... so on and so forth. Okay, let's just do this and then get some fans going or whatever. Y'all having trouble with this? Or because we have the hell gem destabilizers, not the real destabilizers? Okay. You're in, coach. Or I think it's the opposite. The coach decides who's in. Whatever, doesn't matter. I sports ball. I watch the Super Bowl once a year. I know the things. I actually used to play sports a decent amount as a kid, but it's more fun to pretend you have no idea what you're talking about. There's a guy. So we've kind of butchered this setup, but you know, they passed their threshold. They went too deep. They went beyond the hell gems. We need more hell gemage. I think this one actually might be at the right spot, but I think this one's too far. I don't remember. I'll look it back up later, but at the very least we can start a new setup and get some new void things going on, and we can continue to build. Alrighty, well, I don't want to take too much more time. We're gonna go ahead and finish up a review of everything over on the side. We got the hollow flower. No time warps for us. Let's see how it just builds right on there, huh? A nice little palm tree thing. We no longer mind the block, but that's okay. Oh, so like, if there's 10 hollow stones on the ground, then the time warps are worse. So like if I just lead them to accumulate, that's where it becomes more problematic. Alright, let's see. I think I get it. I can use the hollow stones to condense that black stuff out of thin air. Can you? Do I have that yet? Am I missing something? Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, technically the Annihilator's doing that, right? Oh, you are spending the hollow stones in order to create the void. Yeah, it's a cost to it. So the hollow stones are pretty important. Forms weirdly identical crystals, but without any properties. And that fixes anomalies in the universe somehow. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be spending too much of my stuff here. Because the anomaly stuff doesn't matter that much, I don't think, but... who knows? Sounds like an air filter. It's like I spoiled the air. At some point, somehow, I just built a giant super green satellite wire system through Spooky Rock. But yes, you somehow broke everything. Good job. Dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel. Oh yeah, and then we don't have fans set up here, so we want to do that real quick. Surely I can make a million of these, right? Then that should do it. And then, we can upgrade them if we get back to where we were. But I'm pretty sure our silos have expired because we're not seeing any action over there. Speaking of silos, we can go ahead and put a few right here. No problem at all, just chunking away at some rocks. Can always do this as well. Bam. Cool. Yeah, so I might do a little bit off stream. I might get this back up and running with the full layout that I had before. Basically copying what I just did down bottom. And that'll work more because as we get out of the Hell Gem phase, the Hell Gem injectors become more valuable. Now the cost is again inflating, so that's likely that I can't make that many of them, but yeah, we'll see. Factory, hello, there we are. Silo time, boom, 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 boom. So this won't trigger the Annihilate effect because I'm not gaining Hell Gems from the system. I'm not expending them, but I'm not gaining them. It just kind of loops around. So, yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on the process there. Definitely want to be burning the red as much as I can. But these guys really aren't doing anything, right? So we should be selling or resetting them. Or just improving our greenage so that they can go pop, 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 like popcorn. And do a lot of damage and break a lot of blocks. They're doing something. Did I destroy the hell vaults? Because that was kind of the goal. It was like, okay, if I have less hell vaults, these should pop off more, right? Bam, bam. And now every 500 they attack instead, which is great. Why does this feel so slow now? Am I missing something? Is it just the basic fans kind of are bad? Because I felt like getting like 4... when I got 4 fans before, and I can get more, I guess, now that I think about it. Now, before I couldn't do 4 fans. It looks like that bug has been fixed, or I was really bad on the first episode, and I definitely think it's possible both of those things are true. But anyways, yeah, we'll just do this. And get more fans down. Oh, I'm bad because the the fans are in range of the pump station, but that's not what they're supposed to be in range of. They're supposed to be in range of the extracting channel. So that's my bad. That's why it's going so crazy slow. But we can fix that pretty easy. No problem. And before you know it, we'll be back where we want to be. Spooky stone. Thank you. So yeah, you're not getting like the yellow flashes anymore, and the time warps will only occur if I leave like 3 stones on the ground. Which is cool. Let me just delete these because we don't need them. And we can get active channel coolers. If we think that's the issue. Don't think that's the issue, but you know, it's nice. Cool. Yeah, we don't have that much black to play around with, so I'm not going to mess with it too much more. As it stands. But, you know, do we have any more of these? Yes, we do. Bring it on over. Resonator 2, sure, why not? And I want to see if the capacitor... So this is a good setup where I could just layer in some capacitors, right? Let's see if it just kind of instant breaks. Which would be great if it did. But it is solely responsible for this one in the middle. So if this one in the middle doesn't break, then obviously it's just worse, right? And that's the case. See, capacitors are great, and so they don't have enough power. They need to basically just be the spoon-fed stuff by the injector. Well, we knew that. We knew that. Resonator 2 should be a lot cheaper since we sold a few of them effectively by upgrading to the voids. And then you can just kind of keep going down the line. So, okay, well... Bam. 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 I feel like there's a bit of a waste to have this one out here, but if we can put it here, that'd be good. Boom. Where'd it go? I got lost. I wanted the resonator stuff. Thank you, Spooky Stone. Yeah, that would be my last black if I did that. So we're not going to go for that route. But we'll give it the baseline purple resonator. And now, if we can continue to move our stuff out of the way, we should also consider something along the lines of this. Bam. Bam. And then upgrade them all at the same time for efficiency. Go. Yeah, this is necessary just because we don't have the excavating channels available because the Hellgem vaults aren't powered up enough to actually afford those. But we got this. Need a bit more black to really get those all the way online, though. We can get the fans though. The fact that channel coolers are now bottlenecking me is crazy. I'll just do this. Sell them off. It's basically selling them off is basically the same as relocating them, because you can always just. Oops, not for the Helldrum destabilizer. I think I'm under the green threshold. It's fine. Yeah. Oh, there's a channel cooler here too. We'll check it all out soon. We'll bring that one back online when we can. What are you? A silo. Cool. Alright, that should give us a lot to work with. Get the super pumps online. Those are important. Oh, man, I wish I had gotten this earlier when I had a lot more Karenite to work with. Oh, well. We're breaking blocks, and that's what's important. So these don't do anything, right? These are just... need to get the fans up? Yeah. Wait, this does nothing right now. Oh, I built it all too close. It's one space too close. Somebody noticed that a long time ago, and they're like, what the heck is this guy doing? Alright. Oh, I can't move! I have to sell the channels. Oh, no. It's fine. They didn't make much progress anyways. Alright, everything else can move back, though, right? In theory. Silo stays there. These guys move back one. And pull anything out of that space. Cool. Alrighty, and go right back to where we were. To the top. Extracting channels. The very first machine we ever saw back in the day. Simple, but effective. And we're already in the red, so we'll be in the green. It'll be great. So this is what, if I mess up the big green crush, this is what I would have had to do. I would have had to establish a full production line with these little baby extracting channels, which is fine, but not necessarily where we want to be, or when we're at a position where we can do a lot more. So, oh well. I'm happy with the progress we have made. Yeah, I feel like the Hollostones are slowed down a bit, so I think there is a trigger event that I'm just not exactly sure what it is. But yeah. So yeah, if these, I'll look up what Helldrum tier was in the previous videos, and if it is within the range, I'll rebuild some of the stuff. And if we're already beyond it and into Chromalite, then I'll let it lie for right now. But that's going to be it. We are looking a lot better. We'll go ahead and bring our silos back in for the other stuff over here if we can find it, which we totally can. And watch our cool black orb. But yeah, bring this all back online. Probably shouldn't have messed with it with the void entropy stuff. We were doing fine just digging away. But I want to try out a new thing, and I like the idea of it at least. Is that if you can get a lot of Helldrum production, you can make these things fire off like crazy. And if it does, if we experiment and it does end up doing immense power, quote unquote, to the point that you don't need either any destabilization or at least Helldrum injected. If you don't need any Helldrum injection, maybe just do like industrial destabilization at one shots. Like that's super good. We'll play around with it a little bit, and we'll report. For now, these all look pretty good to me. Everything's up and running there. We definitely want to burn more red. which isn't as much as extraordinary amount that we had before, but it's still a good amount. And continue to crunch this. Yeah, the biggest thing we have is we have a lot of celestial foam, and we can use it with these machines here. So let's do that. But the hollow stone is still kind of a limited resource. Hopefully the more we dig, the more we spawn those. And we'll see how it goes from there. Anything else for today? I think that about covers it. We just need to get deeper. Is there... so the annihilator is not a one-off. It's actually a conversion tool. But it's triggered based off annihilation, which is a time-based factor. So unless we're annihilating so fast that this thing somehow can't keep up, I think we really only do need one for a long while. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. But this was a good episode. I really liked getting to try out the new design. I love that it flowed so much more dramatically than what we had before. And it just makes a lot of sense. Like, this scales. This is something that I could reproduce 5 times over once the resources comply. So yeah, we got some void, we got a new factory, and we are well on our way towards what I'm thinking is the end game, but I couldn't even begin to guess how deep this thing goes. So that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and if you liked it, feel free to show that by liking the video. If you have any questions or comments, the comment section is down below as well. And of course, you have the option to subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna take this playthrough as far as it can go. I might do, instead of doing like a bunch of smaller uploads, I might do a few, like just a couple of big ones. But I do want to see this thing through as far as I can. And then after that, I'll probably get back into Factorio stuff. So if you're a fan of the Automation Nation, highly recommend you subscribe to the channel. Helps other users see the content as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and hopefully you guys enjoyed a very thorough examination of what we can accomplish at this tier of the game. Until then, enjoy your night and play some 64.